Haribo. Welcome to the ahankara party. I know you're probably getting sick of me saying that. There's an old movie called Groundhog Day. Have you guys heard of that one? Where every day he wakes up and it's the same day. That's what I'm like, ahankara party. No, and no one's like, this is not a party. Anyway, for some of us it is. Okay, so let's get started. How do I advance these slides? Oh, there. Okay, so today we're going to review from last week what we talked about. Then we're gonna do the blame game, remember? Because we didn't get time for it last time. We're gonna do the blame game. And then we're gonna talk about the characteristics of ahankara: proud and special and unique. And then I'm gonna give a list of the top 5 signs of pride, just in case you don't know. Okay, so to review from last week, blaming. We talked about blaming a lot, right? Blaming involves assigning responsibility for our negative feelings to someone else, right? Because if we have a positive thing, it's all about us, I did it. But if it's something negative, we assign it to someone else or something else, And blame it's about something bad that happened, right? So it's bad, you did it, it's good, I did it. That's the punchline. And blame, so what we call it in psychology is a cognitive distortion, meaning it's actually not the reality of what's happening, but it's how you see it. That's why it's a distortion in your mind, because ahankara won't allow you to possibly see it, that you're the one that's at fault. So it distorts in some way that you can always preserve this beautiful, precious ahankara that never has a blemish on it. It's like porcelain, blemish-free, flawless. Okay? So this cognitive distortion convinces us about something that's actually not true. That's what it is. Okay? And then we talked about how ahankara also does this rationalization, remember? How it rationalizes, and the example I gave is like if, this man is like slapping the woman and he's like, she deserved it. She shouldn't have talked to me like that. You've probably heard that before. Maybe you've even experienced that. You've either done the slapping, or not necessarily the man has to slap the woman can slap the man too. But the slap happens, right? And it's an ego defense, right? And then it's rationalized, right? And then the American Psychological Association describes it as an ego defense in which apparently logical reasons are given to justify unacceptable behavior. Okay, so that's the review of rationalization. And then this, also remember the shopping example I gave? That the lady came back from shopping with all these bags, and then she's basically like, doing some sort of rationalization why that's okay, And the guy's like, what, But she couldn't admit, oh, I'm sorry, I broke the budget and I spent all that money and I bought all that stuff. She'll make up some rationalization why that's okay. So in the nutshell is, if I feel bad, it's your fault, and ahankara and buddhi together actually help come up with the reason why. And if I feel good, well then I did it. I can take all the credit for that. So that's our quick kind of summary. The last slide I showed before we ended was what to do when someone blames you. We kind of did that quickly, but we said, like, do not get defensive, right? Try to explain yourself. Don't try to explain yourself. Don't try to educate them and tell them, no, here's how it is, if someone's blaming you. Don't try to attempt to change their mind. That's one of the most common things that people do when they get in a difficult relationship. It's because you're trying to get them to change. Trying to get the other person to change, And if you think that's what a psychologist's job is full-time, to change the mind, and they're not that successful at it, actually. That's why people are in therapy for years. So then how is it that you think without any training at all you're going to change somebody's mind? I don't even think that I can change people's minds. I can give them questions to think about and see if they can change their own mind, but I don't think I have the ability to do it, and I've been doing it for 15 years. I've been in this profession. It's very hard to get someone to change their mind from the outside, It's really an inside job, but ahankara makes us think we can by saying something to someone or convincing, explaining, educating, And also don't make efforts to caretake their feelings. Do you guys remember when I described what that means, to caretake the feelings? Does someone want to say what that means? If you're caretaking somebody's feelings, what is that? Vilas?
What I remember is that it means to basically stop the trigger that makes the other person experience an uncomfortable feeling. So when the other person says that, I am angry because, you do like that, then I stop doing that so that the other person is not angry anymore. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Yeah. That's a good example.
So I bend myself and adjust myself so that the other person
Yeah.
doesn't feel these uncomfortable
yeah.
things, and
Yeah.
you spoke of walking on eggshells.
Yes.
This is then how it feels.
Yeah, very good. That's a good example. Anyone else want to share an example of caretaking feelings if you remember? Or if you think about what that means? So you don't want the person to have some bad feeling. So one thing you would do is you stop acting that way because you don't want to trigger them. Can you think of another way? Somebody's triggered, they're angry at you. Jaya?
Not only acting differently, but also saying things to make the other person feel good.
Praising, right? Praising them, or saying maybe even lies just to calm them down, you know? Yeah, that's another way. Another thing, I might have not mentioned it, but it's very common, is if somebody that you feel that you're walking on eggshells with them because they're very moody, you know, they get angry very quickly at you, or they cry a lot, there's something where they're very moody, then caretaking feelings would be that you stay with them for too long. Just say you're trying to study, or just say you have something else you need to do, you know. You'll just blow it off. Oh no, I didn't have lunch because so-and-so was crying. Or I didn't, you know, I skipped my studying. Why? Because so-and-so was upset and I don't want her to be mad at me or him to be mad at me. You may not think of it that clearly, but that's actually caretaking feelings. It's not your job to take care of someone else's feelings, you know. But it's easy to say it, but it's very hard to watch yourself and see if you're actually doing that or not, because the ahankara will rationalize a lot of ways. No, they're just sad, and no, whatever the reason is. But we have to catch ourselves and say that's their job, because if you want to do something very loving and kind to them, it would be to let them learn how to take care of their own feelings. That it's not loving and kind to sit there with them for hours, because you're enabling that behavior in them, which is actually keeping them stuck, you know. And they're not getting also professional help then. And then they'll use you basically for that for some period of time, but they're moody and angry and all that, so they'll lash out at you eventually, and then they'll use the next person to do the same thing. You know, so they're not getting better, and actually you're not getting better either. It keeps both people kind of stuck, you know. So the best thing to do is, that's why when I gave the example on the final slide, remember I said something like, I'm so sorry you feel that way, and I wish you well, or something like that. Acknowledge their feelings and then kind of wish them well and make the boundary. And that feels so rude and so harsh. You know, it's like, and so I was saying, okay, you kind of listen a little bit, but you don't want to create that dynamic where you become their therapist kind of thing, you know. So, but their tendency is that they know that it's almost like a bully. They know that they can blame you for something, and they know the people who will go for it and who will spend the time with them and apologize and listen to their whole story. And now, who's the flavor of the week that they're angry at, or the flavor of the day, or the flavor of the month? It doesn't matter, but they kind of obsess over that one person that they're angry at or who upset them, and they can't stop it, you know. And then you're their kind of punching bag in a way, and you sit there and listen to them and support them, and then you try to educate them and change them, and it doesn't really work like that, you know. And therapy can take years. I have people who I've been with, they've been talking about one person to me that they're angry at for years. The one person they're angry at, and they still are not out of it. This person still did this and this to them. You know, so it's not a quick thing. And once you see that, if you could like be a little fly in the wall and hear the conversations I have with people longitudinally over years, you'd go, oh my God, why am I trying to like caretake this person's feelings, you know? And I'm not saying there aren't some instances where you've had a good experience and where you've done it, but I'm saying it's not helpful to that person in the long run. But and also us, the caretakers, we get kind of a high out of it. We feel important, we feel needed, we feel smart, we feel like, oh. And then sometimes it depends on how this person is, but some people even will give you the feeling that you helped them just to keep you on the hook. In other words, you haven't helped them, but they're clever enough to praise you just to keep you on the hook to do it again the next day, you know. So there's lots to learn about that. But anyway, and they also, when someone's blaming you, they like to make you feel guilty that it's your fault. You know, and if you feel guilty, if you have that in you, then guess what? That makes you stay longer with them, try to make them feel better, say sweet words to them, spend time with them. Like you said, Vilas, change your behavior so you don't upset them, all that, you know. So, anyway, that's a little summary of before. So you ready to play the blame game? Okay, so this game is a game in which people are going to take turns blaming and responding. Blaming and responding, okay? But I'm going to tell you the types of responses you can do. I give you a little framework and you can decide. Okay, so just take a minute first and write down one sentence. I'm not going to ask you all, but if anybody wants to volunteer after, I'll ask you to read it, but I'm not going to make you, So write down one sentence, okay, in which you just blame someone or something else. Just one. You don't have to use anybody's name, but just think of some instance when you want to blame someone or some, you made me angry because you came late to class. Or you made me sad when you told me that I'm not a good mother, or whatever the thing is. Basically, blame is you, so you did it to me, because what? So the ideal structure would be you made me feel, because you did, it's your fault. The example I have here is the website didn't get launched on time because the artist delivered the illustrations late, and I didn't even put a feeling there. But it could be like, I'm angry. You made me feel angry. If I was going to tell the artist directly, you made me feel angry and, unseen because you made us, you made the website launch late because you didn't deliver these illustrations on time. Blaming is kind of fun, actually. It's a relief. Right? Feels kind of good. Just get a load off. Just think of someone who feels so good to blame for something. Travel's the worst, right? When you're flying, it's like there's lots of people to blame in a travel experience. At the airport, the taxi, the traffic, the food. Everybody got a sentence? Anybody need another minute? Ready? Okay. So if you're the blamer, you're going to blame other people for either your feelings or for the behavior or, the situation, like my behavior, like it's your fault because of my behavior. The only reason I'm late is because you made me late because you were going too slow or something. It's like I'm going to blame you for my behavior. I'm going to blame you for my feelings, or I'm going to blame one of you or something for the situation, right? So that's the blamer. So that's the sentence you wrote. And then if we respond, if you choose to be a responder, you have three options. Okay? You can either blame them back. Or you can agree with them, completely agree, like the codependent, like, oh my God, you're right, it is my fault. I'm so sorry, I'm so bad, I'm the world's worst person, like, I don't even think you want to talk to me ever again. Like, that's the codependent who just takes the full blame. Or you blame back, that's option one, codependent or whatever, is agree with them, take all the responsibility. Or the third one is you hold them accountable. Okay, so I'll show you how it looks. There's three ways you can respond. Blame is one extreme, just like throw it right back in their face. The other extreme is agree. Oh my God, it's all my fault. And the middle one is when you're like, actually, okay, I'm going to take responsibility for my part, but also you take responsibility for your part. We kind of co-created this thing. And that's obviously the healthiest one. Okay, so one, put the responsibility on them. Two, agree, validate all their thoughts and feelings, and you accept all the blame. And four, hold accountable, both sides. I take responsibility for my part, you take responsibility for your part. Okay? Ready? You got it? Okay, any questions? How's anyone doing on Zoom, Nyan Shrees? Anybody have any questions, or everybody's okay? Okay. So here's the example. The blaming person would say the website got launched on time. It didn't get launched on time because the artist delivered the illustrations late. Okay? Response one, blame. But you were managing the project, so it's your fault for not managing the artist better to get things done on time. Just throw it back. Agree. Yes, you're right. That artist is so slow, and because of her, the website didn't get launched on time. Okay? Then the last one, hold accountable. Actually, it's true that the artist is slow, and her late submission contributed to the website not being able to be launched on time. But you also played some part in missing the deadline for the website launch because, as a manager, it's your job to make sure this project was delivered on time. You see how that one pinches the ahankara a little bit, but not as bad? First you agree and say, yeah, that part's true, but also, So that one pinches a little bit, but not as bad as the first one when you just throw it back, right? So it seems pretty simple. You got it? Okay, so now think in your head how you want to respond, right? Because one person's going to read their sentence, and then you can decide if you want to respond as the blamer, the agreeer, or the hold accountable. Okay? All right, let's practice. So who wants to read their sentence? Bhushan, take the mic. Sure. Like that one? Okay. Okay, Bhushan, go ahead. Blame.
You made me feel cold, miserable, and unclean because you took 4 days to replace the gas cylinder for the water heater.
You made me feel cold, miserable,
Cold, miserable, and unclean.
and unclean because it took you 4 days to replace the gas cylinder for the water heater? Okay. The gas cylinder so he could have hot water. So he didn't take a shower, or he took a shower in cold water. Okay.
So like just 1 or 2.
Okay. Okay, Narottam. Tell us which one you want to respond as. The blamer, the agreeer, or the...
Blame.
Huh?
Blame.
Okay.
You could have anticipated and get some hot water for you. From your neighbor.
Okay, now you respond. You decide if you want to respond as the blamer, the agreeer, or the hold accountable.
Yeah,
You have to press it in.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I was just too ashamed to kind of go and ask people for hot water. But yeah, you're right. I think I didn't really think of that.
So which one are you responding as?
Agree. Yeah.
Okay, respond as the blamer.
Okay, I have to respond as a blamer.
No, because I think your nature is to respond as the agreeable one. So
yeah,
respond.
but I'm not supposed to. I mean, I guess it should work, right? I mean, you go to some place and then it's supposed to work, right? Why should I go and beg for hot water from somebody else? So it should have been fixed faster.
Malati, you want to say something?
No, I don't. Why is he now? He's responding to him in agreement, but he's giving one of the responses. So I thought one has to always go back to the original blame.
Yeah.
So I didn't understand.
So how should he do it? You do how he should do it.
So if I agree, then
Yeah.
I would say, I'm so sorry, and you're right, and I'm so sorry that you had to take cold showers, and because I was so slow, I didn't realize it.
Okay. Okay. So Narottam should have said that?
No. This is my response of agreement
Okay.
to his blame.
Okay. So you can have a choice of how you want to respond. It's flexible. What's the issue? I don't understand the issue.
So no, he did the first, right? Blame.
Yeah.
Right? And then I did the blame and I blamed back to him.
Yeah.
Now she wants to do the second one, which is the agreement. So she's agreeing with me that
Yeah.
my blame is justified.
And he agreed with him. It's a different agreement.
Yeah.
That was wrong. That was a mistake.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. He was supposed to stick with blame, and then he agreed, right?
That was
That's a different thing than what he was
That's why
saying.
I was
Yeah.
confused.
Yeah. I got you.
She was actually blaming him on a meta level.
Not about the water, but just in general, he got the whole exercise wrong. Okay, good. Okay, so now, what we're going to say, so we'll add this rule in so it's clear, that if you, the blamer, you stay as a blamer, right? Okay, thank you, Malati. Malati clarified for us. So if you decide you're going to be the blamer, which means you're reading the blaming statement, then stay as the blamer. But instead you agreed, which was probably more your nature, and then I was saying go to blame. Okay, good. So now, who wants to read a different sentence? Okay, Malati.
We will probably miss our plane because, again, you have misplaced your passport.
Oh, that's a hard one, right? Did you guys hear it? We're going to miss the flight again because once again you've misplaced your passport. Okay? So who wants to respond and tell us which one you're going to respond as? She's telling you. Imagine you're the one. Go ahead, Nyantri. Oh, go ahead, Tanvi.
Okay, I tried it, number 3.
Okay.
Yes, actually what you're saying is there is some truth to it. I'm kind of high water always and then misplacing my passport, and I see that it is frustrating you, and I'm sorry for that. I didn't. I know that I have to work on that in many ways also. And now you feel stressed out probably because we only have like 5 minutes left. At the same time, at the same time, it is not only my responsibility that we are here together. So I think it is not only my responsibility that we get the plane on time. I will do my best now to get the password, and I'm sure I find it in the next few minutes. So please just give me the time, and I know I have to improve on this. Yeah, and I don't get the other part.
Yeah, you have to be, so you did a good job kind of validating her, and saying you're right, but now we've got to add the accountable. But since we don't know the whole story, you have to make something up. Go ahead, Janova, you have to add in a piece, and you got to try to hold her accountable for something. Good job, Tanvi, for that
so
piece.
Then I will stick with the first part that Tanvi did, and I will add, and I understand, but I also insist because I'm a little bit, I lose a lot of things all the time, and I told you that I need more time to go 4 hours early in the airport, and you said no. You said only 2 hours.
Oh, there we go.
Will be enough.
That's it.
So then what to do? We only have 2 hours, so
yeah,
we're
that's
late.
very good. Yeah. You want to say something back, Malati?
Wait, if that's not the case.
What? Okay, go ahead. Ping pong back. Let's go with the blame ping pong back. You're just lying. Yeah. Yeah. That's not the case. You're twisting my words or something, you'd say back, right? Good. Does anyone else want to chime in and say something? Go ahead, Jaya Tamalati. What one do you want to do? Blame, agree, or hold accountable? Okay.
Yeah. I would say I accept that I should keep my passport in the right place.
Is the mic on? Oh, sorry. It's on. I don't know if it's working.
Okay.
Turn it up. We'll turn it up. Okay, go ahead.
I accept that I should keep my passport in the right place, but remember, I was busy cooking your demanding dinner.
Oh! Good one. I was busy cooking. Did you say? You're demanding dinner. That's why I'm late, because you're being very picky. Okay, good. Good. So that's holding accountable. You have a comeback to that, Malati? What would you say? Yes, she does. She's like,
You should have just, since you know that you have this tendency to always lose things, you should just, ahead of time, not after the dinner, after cooking, so you should, before we leave, a day before, you should keep everything ready, so that you don't have to, in the last minute, you don't have to struggle and
That's right. That's right. You got a point. Jaya, you want to make a comeback, or Gargamuni? You want to make a comeback to Malati? Get it out here. Get it out here. You can be all clean after class. Are you going to do hold accountable? Again, are you going to stick to that one, or are you going to switch
yes,
gears?
Of course, yeah. Of
Okay.
course I have to defend myself.
Okay. You're not going to take it up a notch to blame?
Because
okay.
How is it possible? Every day I have a whole list of things to do for you. I don't get any free time.
Okay, Malati, you got to come back?
I don't think you have a distorted vision of reality. Are you aware of what I'm doing for you? I'm arranging all these things for you. The flight, everything I booked is all for you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, here we go. Ping pong. Yes, Jaya? Oh, really?
So, this flight is for me. Oh, okay. Are we going on some holiday?
I booked the flight for you, and we have agreed that we have agreed that we want to go there. And I did all the work of looking for the ticket, booking it for us, and all this. And it took a lot of time.
Yeah, that's true. But why are we going on a holiday? Because you know that I don't have any time for myself. I also need some recreation.
Now you're deviating from the topic. This is
good. So good. Okay, let's let Gargamuni throw a little masala in here. What do you have to say, Gargamuni? You want to add some spice to it?
You know myself for so many years. You know that I always misplace things and I forget them. So you should have at least half of the responsibility is yours that you did not, take into consideration my limitations.
Okay, what number is that? 1, 2, or 3? Is that blame, agree, or hold accountable? What do you guys think? What did Gargamuni do? Blame. He did 1. Okay, Malati, you got to come back for that? You want to do a ping pong back for that one? You should know him by now, how he is.
It's really frustrating that you're not able to accept your weaknesses and you work on them and get it better. Every time we have the same issue, so I'm really frustrated.
No, actually, I accept my weaknesses, but you don't acknowledge them, and you don't take them into consideration, and that's why it's like we travel together. I look at other things that you are bad at, and you should please also think about things that I miss or do wrong.
You got to come back for that one.
Okay, so what is it? What are the things I'm bad at? Please let me know.
Oh, Jonathan's got to chime in? What side are you going on? Is anybody going to support Malati, or is everybody going against Malati? Can anybody help her?
Well, Malati, instead of wasting time blaming me, you should just help me cooking or help me find my passport. Because you're here talking, and time,
Don't you see that the whole time we are talking, I'm constantly, searching? Didn't you notice that? I'm not standing. While we are talking, I'm looking here and there.
Good job, you guys. You see how much fun the blame game is? So who wants to come in and de-escalate this? What would you say to Malati to de-escalate it? Because now you just ping pong. Go ahead, Malika. What would you say to her? And let's see if it works. Malati, you tell us if it really works. Go ahead, Malika.
Yes, Malati, you're right. We are very late now, and I misplaced the passports. So I myself don't really remember where they are now. Would you not think that it would be good that that you could have looked? No, wait a moment. So yes, I misplaced them. But I think it would also have been a good idea to look a little earlier for the passports, not only 5 minutes now before we leave. And what about if we are going to look for them together? Do you remember where you put them, from where I could have taken them? No, you don't.
I have my passport. It's
your
passport.
You lost it.
Your own passport.
Lost it.
My passport is here. I always keep it in the same place. But you put it here and there.
Yeah.
In the washing machine. I have everything. I'm ready to go. It's only because of you.
Yeah. Who has an idea? Good attempt, Malika. So you want to say something, or do you want to let someone else get a try? So you're the one who can't find the passport. She's ready to go and she has hers. What could you say to de-escalate it?
Oh yes, damn, I totally misplaced my passport. I'm so sorry, Malika, that because of my mistake, now we're going late, and I know you feel stressed. I'm sorry for that. I'm also very stressed. So, now we are coming to
No, de-escalate is not a...
I know, yes. So, yes, I'm sorry that you feel stressed.
Please use the mic.
Yes, sorry. You know what? What do you think if you start already bringing out the luggage, and in the meantime, I quickly go in the bedroom because I think I left it in the cupboard over there.
Okay, let Malati... On a 1 to 10, what did she get? What did she get for that response?
Okay, so that's quite good. You have to make one promise.
Mm-hmm.
In future, you have to promise me that this will never happen again, then I'll accept it.
That's good to know. Okay, de-escalate.
Would you help me with that? That maybe you can help me if maybe before when we plan the trip that you remind me of that because maybe the first 3 times I practice that because I have this flaw That maybe you can help me to
The
remember.
problem is you also lose your keys. You know, you always press miss. So you have to just learn to keep your things in one place.
So now you're deviating from a topic.
No. I'm just saying. My point is, I cannot help you because it's not just this thing. You just have to learn to keep things in one place, and then this will not happen again.
Okay, Malati, I really feel not. No, I feel really discouraged.
You're trying to de-escalate.
Yes, but I don't know anymore because you're just blaming me.
Can I say something?
Uh-oh. Pull it back, Purushottam. We're trying to de-escalate. So she wants you to caretake her feelings now. You see how she did that? She wants you to caretake her feelings and the keys thing and the passport thing. She put the blame on you for everything. Very tricky, though. Very smooth. Purushottam Prabhuji, what did you want to say?
Yeah, I want to say, okay, thank you, dear. You reminded me to where I kept the passport. Now I'll go back and find it right away, and we can go on.
Very good. Okay, good job, Purushottam. And what would you say, Janava?
I will say thank you. I will stop everything that I was doing, and I will look and search for everything. And don't worry, if we miss the plane, I will take full responsibility. I will pay another ticket, and you will have your vacation, my dear.
Go ahead, Malati.
But the only thing is that you're not able to pay for it because anyway I'm paying for you.
How about Okay, I think you had something.
So it's Malati, it's completely my fault. I'm really sorry for that. So maybe we can look together. You more intelligent than me. Maybe you are able to find a place where I put the passport and be both together. Maybe there are 2 eyes more to see. So then we are maybe able to catch whatever we want to catch.
Okay, did that de-escalate it for you?
This sounds quite good, even though I've been already searching.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a nice way.
You think it feels good when they make their problem your problem and they pull you in?
Also, it was
bringing
soothing.
it down.
It was
okay.
nice. It was not completely. There were a few wrong things in it.
Yeah. It was de-escalating somewhat. Okay, I think Mohini wants to give it a shot.
I wanted to reply. She was like holding accountable, and then she replied like, "Oh, I'm paying anyhow," and I wanted to reply to that, and I wanted to say yes, it's true, but I will try to pay back something according to my ability, and I'm good in giving massage, so I would like to also do something for you.
Vilas? Sorry, Janava. Go ahead, Janava, and we'll give it to Vilas after.
Yes. Okay, Malati, I understand that I did everything wrong. So what should I do now to please you? What do you want? Like, yeah, how can I help you? Like, because I'm responsible for that, I know, but what to do now?
Just find the passport.
Vilas, go ahead. Go ahead, Malati, you got another try here.
I have 2 ideas and I would really like to hear your feedback. So one would be to say, okay, Malati, I'm so glad that I have you, because you are so organized, you know perfectly where everything is stored. So could you help me to find it? I just take shelter of you and yeah, because you just know everything so well, every corner here.
How does that one feel? Somewhat? 5 out of 10?
It feels good, yeah.
Good?
This is good?
10 out of 10? Is there anything missing? He has a few ideas. Should he tell you the next one? Or
what's that?
I think you had a few different ideas.
Yes, 2.
Okay, so
yeah. So one idea was to praise, to appease the ahankara. The other one I would try what you gave in the last slide last time, to say, I'm really sorry that you feel disappointed of me, and I will search it right now. If you like, if you have time, please help me. Otherwise, please take the taxi and go on vacation. And you know, I'm just doing my best and maybe I can join, maybe not.
This would make me more upset.
Yeah, yeah.
This wouldn't work.
Yeah. What? Explain to him why. So he.
Because it's like, okay, you do what you want. You go alone. I mean, we planned this trip together, everything, and now, okay, if I do, then just do your own thing. It's like very cold and like we have nothing, just do your own thing.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. But wasn't it the idea of when someone wants me to caretake of her feelings that I say, I acknowledge your feeling, you're very upset now, but I mean, I will try to do what I promised. If I can do it, I do it. If not, then that's it. So I move on like that? Would this be an application of what you said?
Get her feedback to see.
Yeah, it doesn't feel right. If you're together, if you are doing something and then just move on means, you do your own thing. You become you separate basically. And that's not the idea, you're going together because you want to do something together.
Yeah.
And then you just, I feel let alone, basically, with my
rejected,
anger.
dropped, abandoned, like.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
But, I mean, what can I do? It's your problem that you feel, that you feel abandoned. And
this is how it sounds like.
Exactly,
It sounds like,
And I don't want to be sucked in and serve you, So I say, well, I'm very sorry that you feel abandoned. We planned this together, yes, and I messed it up. So,
So do you take
that's
responsibility? You don't take responsibility for her feelings, but you take responsibility for your actions, which is you lost the passport. So you have to own that and get, options would be something like, I'm so sorry, you're angry, and I know I have to find the passport, so I'm going to scramble around and trying to find it. I'm not going to ask you because you're already pissed off because I lost it, so it's not your job to wipe my butt when I go to the bathroom or find the passport. So this idea of making, you're so good at that and stuff, it doesn't make sense. She's already pissed off because you lost it. So your job is to scramble around and find it, and also to tell her, I'm going to find it right away. I'm so sorry, and by the way, I'm going to, when on the car on the way, I'm going to pay to have, or whatever, put out my credit card to do the pre-check-in thing. So you know what, we're going to be checked in. So even if we're late, we're going to go on that fast TSA security line, and it's my responsibility to cover us. So you have to, you may, or she may still be angry the whole vacation. So it's not your job to caretake her feelings, but it's your job to be responsible for your part. You agreed to go on that vacation. And just because you lost the passport and she's mad doesn't mean you're still mad, so I'm not taking care of your feelings. I can't take care of your feelings, but I have to do my part. I committed to that vacation, and I'm going to do my best to get on that plane. Whether it means we have to even maybe upgrade to first class, I don't know what it would be, but she has to see that you're trying really hard. That's the missing piece, right?
Yeah, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah. Instead of telling her what to do, you find the passport, for me.
Was good.
Yeah.
The only thing that was, that is, I'm going to pay for it. I just gave it to you. But otherwise, it was good what you said.
Yeah. But asking her, putting the responsibility back on her that you're so good at it, that's the whole defect of the relationship, is that she doesn't want to be taking care of you. She's already the breadwinner, she's already has all the money, she's already probably planned the whole whole vacation, paid for the flight, and now you're going to ask her to do this one little small thing, find the passport. It's like too much. I mean, that means what part did you do of this whole thing? Nothing,
But then, it sounds as if this approach of praising was really not good. But why did you then say that, why did you feel this was kind of nice, that it felt well?
You said, we're doing it together, no? That was, okay, I'm good at it, and that's why...
Because you know perfectly where everything is. Yeah, exactly.
So, and because it's true, I know that you are totally messy, and I know, so I know that I could be able to help you, and you acknowledge that you are, you acknowledged this deficiency, and you said, so that was like that was what...
Getting warmer. It's like getting warmer.
Everybody said that.
It's getting warmer. It's not the full thing, but that part is good. Acknowledging your deficiency and acknowledging what she's good at. But then being like, so can you do it for me? Then that's like, no, that's the very problem. I'm not going to now clean up your mess again, which I've been doing for 20 years or something. Does it make sense? Questions? Anybody want to say anything else? What did you guys think of that exercise? Blame seems like a small thing, but when you actually practice it, you see how hard it is actually, right? How to take responsibility for your part, how to really actually try to authentically understand the other person with empathy and think of what they might want, what you might want in that situation, and then try to give that to them. Bhushan?
Okay, I guess my question is that when the blame is, let's say it is legit, for example, airlines, right? People blame the airline person, right? But it's not the person's fault. They are just standing there. It's probably some mechanic happened, something in the plane, right? So they have to. So if you are in a situation where you acknowledge the blame, you can see the problem, but there's nothing you can do, and you're not responsible for it. Somebody else is.
Right.
But if you say, okay, I am not responsible for somebody else, I don't know how that will come off as to the person who is angry and blaming. How do you respond to such a thing in the situation?
Give me an example specifically. What would they say to
So one example is, let's say, example here. Okay, so here, this is the situation, right? So in my situation, the water heater was not. I go to the caretaker of the room, but this guy doesn't have any. I mean, he's not paying for the gas, right? Somebody else's problem, right? So, so then how would he respond when I blame him? Okay, the water is not coming. It's not hot water, and there's nothing he can do because he doesn't have the money to buy the gas cylinder. Somebody else has to do it.
What do you guys think? What would you do what do you think the response should be for the guy who's a manager, right? How should a manager respond?
Correct.
That's what Bhushan is asking. Okay. Tanvi?
He should take full responsibility, like always in workplaces. Even if you didn't do the mistake, it doesn't matter. You are the company. You are not this person. You are the company, and you have to take responsibility. So you have to apologize very, very deeply, like sincerely. So to pacify the person first, I'd say. And then you have to take all the fault on you. You say that shouldn't have happened. I'm very sorry. And now I'm arranging right now the very best that it will, you will get what you want, basically.
Yeah. Good, Tanvi.
And even if you don't feel like that internally, it doesn't matter. Then you can take care of your feelings inside later and also talk to the person who is responsible. But you have to show up as a team. That is very important. That often doesn't happen in the job world. Actually.
Yeah, that's true. Good, Tanvi.
Often people say like, oh, but I'm only the person who is, I don't know, taking care of that. I'm only this one.
Yeah.
And they don't see themselves as a team. But
Yeah. Good. Anyone want to add to that? Okay. All right. So I gave that example. We practiced, right? We did our responses. Here's a little bit more about blame. So you guys did a great job with that exercise. It was so nice to see so many people participating, right? We really brought it to life, and Malati took all the punches, and you did so great. Good job. So,
can I ask one question to it?
Yeah.
With the holding it accountable, it seems now in the Malati example, we have an example where she actually didn't really do anything to the situation. So we do take the blame on us, but it's different than the codependent, right? Because here it is true that we messed it up, so we take responsibility and we make it better. But that can also be, right?
But it's a good question. Most likely, Malati did have some role to play, like how Janava made up the thing. But I asked to leave 4 hours earlier, and you said no, 2 hours. I should be able to do it in 2 hours. But no. But I asked for what I needed, and because you didn't honor that, that's why we're in this situation. So most likely, in almost any situation where there's a conflict, both parties have some piece to play. So if we knew more of the story, we'd be like, maybe it would be something like that. But Malati's like, no, but I'm busy and I'm working, or I had this appointment, so I couldn't leave 4 hours early. It'd go back and forth, but there would be some piece for her to hold her accountable. It's not, I don't think usually it's not always 100% only one person's fault, right?
All right, so in a relationship where, let's say, if I'm in a relationship with somebody who's always then not taking their part, then that would not be healthy.
That's called,
I should think about.
That's called.
If I practice accountability, okay. Or the other way around.
Yeah. Okay. If you're with somebody who doesn't take responsibility for their part, that's called toxic. That's a toxic relationship. So what you want is that you own your part first. That's healthy. If you're like, my bad, I'm sorry, I always lose a passport, I shouldn't, and I'm not going to ask you to be responsible for me. I need to get it together, and I'm going to get it together now, and I'm never going to do it again. Something like that, where you really say, I have a problem, I need to work on it. But then you would expect, once you soften and you own it, the other person should actually naturally do that if they have empathy. If they have empathy and you're heart to heart connected, then they're like, oh my God, well, actually, now that I think about it, because they soften. If you're having the ego battle, the ahankara battle, you just get harder and harder and harder. But if one person softens, and if you're connected and the person has empathy, then the other person softens. And that's actually, you know what, now that I think about it, thank you so much for making that concession. I really appreciate it. You should get it together about how to be more organized. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this thing. That's how a nice relationship works. Each person owns their part, and then it feels so happy. It feels so blissful when it can go like that, right? Okay, so, good, Tanvi, that was a good question. So it's really hard actually to implement it because there's all these finer points, you know, so I'm glad you're asking those kind of questions. So a little bit more about blame, just a few things that blaming, like all the ahankaras, you know, this is our 10th lecture on ahankara, right? And every time, every characteristic is natural. It's just what ahankara does. So the reason why I'm saying it is now we don't want to be like, oh my God, look at his ahankara or her ahankara. They're always blaming. Oh my God, there's not something wrong with that person. That's what it does. You know, and unless you're aware of it in yourself, you know, you can't control it. So most people are not, you know, doing an in-depth analysis of ahankara every day, right? So it's something that we should be very compassionate to everybody, including ourselves. Like, oh, I'm doing that blaming thing. And then be nice to yourself and go, wow, I'm so happy that I recognized it, that I'm seeing it more. Instead of like, look at how bad my ahankara is. It's always blaming. It never takes any responsibility. Or look at how, oh my God, hers is so bad. We don't want to do that, you know. So we want to have compassion and go, okay, this is a natural human behavior like all the other ahankara tricks, right? So when something bad happens, it's just an instinct. It's a complete instinct to figure out, oh, who did it? And then it's like, oh, wait a minute, me? No, it can't be me. You know, so it's almost as fast of an instinct. Who did it? But then when it's me, it's like, no. Our instinct actually, instinctually, we're going to look away and be like, no, it's that person. We'll find anything, even the dog, you know. Anything. So, but unfortunately, blaming is actually quite dangerous in a relationship. It can completely ruin a relationship. It can destroy it, right? That's what I'm saying. It's like a toxic thing. Because how can you feel connected with someone if they blame you all the time? And then you're constantly just saying, oh yeah, you're right, I'm wrong, I'm bad, I'm wrong. It feels horrible. You don't feel connected to that person. And actually, parents do this a lot to kids. And that's how kids learn to lie. That's how they learn to lie. So if your parents are blaming you, especially when they're really heavy on you and you're just a little kid, it's amazing how smart kids can be with lying. You know, when I worked at that psychiatric hospital, kids were such good liars and they were like 7 years old because their parents were always blaming them. You know? So anyway, blaming is the opposite of empathizing. You know, you're not going to blame somebody else if you can actually get in their shoes and see, you know? So even if, like with Malati with the passport example, if she was doing the empathetic blame, she would be like more, say something empathetic to you, but also keep the boundary. Like, it's not okay that now you're making us late, but I can understand that she wouldn't like throw the hatchet at you, you know. So there's an empathetic way with a boundary, and that's an art. How to really be in someone's shoes, but also keep your boundary and be like, but it's still not okay by me, and this has got to stop. But I understand for you, you have ADHD or whatever your thing is, you know. Okay, so we did a lot of ahankara characteristics. The last ones were proud and special and unique. We're going to end in about 4 minutes because Babaji's coming early today. He's going to start teaching on time because he has to get to a class at 9. So I don't have a lot of time. For just a few minutes, I'm going to talk a little bit, and then we can continue at a later time. Okay? So this ahankara characteristic of proud, the definition is feeling deep pleasure or satisfaction as a result of one's own achievements, one's own, you know, my own qualities, my own achievements, right, you know, or my own possessions, you know. And this is the interesting part. You can also feel proud of somebody that you're associated with, you're closely associated with. So this is what I see a lot in the world of ashram life, right? If you're associated with the guru, you may not have much going on in your life, but you want to be close to the guru because he makes you look good, you know? And then when you go out in the world, you can be like, my guru, and my guru that, and I'm, you know, so that's how you show off, actually. It's like a spiritual way of showing off. I mean, it's not spiritual, but in spiritual circles, that's what I've seen of how people show off, you know? They themselves, they're not much, but if they can get close enough to the guru and then put it like, me, my guru, you know, then it makes them look like that. So that's how tricky pride is. It may not necessarily be about yourself, but it may be about whoever that person is. Or it may not have to be the guru, it could be your partner. It could be just someone, or maybe you have a famous relative, you know, just someone who boosts you up, you know. So why pride is nothing to be proud of? Pride means to be arrogant and to have a high opinion of oneself. So nobody really likes somebody like that, right? It's a feeling that you're more important than others. It's like a very inflated self-view, right? You boast about yourself excessively. Have you seen people like that? Who just always bragging about themselves, right? It's crazy, right? When somebody does that. And they don't realize they're doing it, probably. And they also think, especially if you're polite, they think you're interested. So you're sitting there, and then they're like, and then I did this, and you're like, oh, wow. And you're like, oh, my God. Have you ever had to be stuck on a plane with somebody like that or something? And you're like, when does this flight come? And then they keep going about all their accomplishments, how amazing they are, you know. And also one sign is that you may not realize someone's proud because they're not so grandiose with their bragging and their boasting, but they never ask about you. Because some people, maybe they're proud in a different, more subtle way, like they're not boasting and they're not bragging, but they're going on and talking about why their partner doesn't love them or something. They're just complaining about something, but that's still pride, because that means that you think that your story, whatever it is more important than the other person. And you think that they're just supposed to sit there and listen to you, complaining. It could be just complaining. It doesn't have to necessarily be you're talking about how great you are. It could be you're talking about how bad someone else is. That's also coming from a very subtle pride. Because pride means you think you're better than the other person, which means you think your airtime is more important than everyone else's, you know? So pride and empathy basically go hand in hand, and I will put my hands together and say thank you. And Haribol. Great job, you guys. See you next week for our last class.